Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a little different. I have a few meals to share with you. I've got some summer meal prep going on, and I have some things that I've been wanting to tell you. Like when I did that video about how I've been saving money, I ran out of time before I told you the biggest way that I've been able to save money lately. So I'm going to talk about that, but first let me share with you what I'm making right now. I'm making a version of what is probably my very favorite meal. I usually eat it at least a few times a week, and it's basically just a stir fry, and I always use whatever vegetables are in the fridge. To me, I think this is probably one of my cheapest meals that I make because I do get rice in bulk, and I'm always buying my vegetables on sale. Tofu is one of the cheapest proteins out there, and I make all of this taste so delicious, usually with a homemade sauce. Today I'm actually just using a bottled sauce, and of course I ended up regretting it because my homemade sauce is so much better. But I also always add in some peanuts. I buy those in bulk at Aldi. I don't usually add asparagus to my stir fry. However, I have this huge bag that I got, and since I'm usually just cooking for one, then if I buy something like that, then I have to pretty much eat it every day in order to get it eaten up. And I do like asparagus, so I'm okay with eating it every day. For me, one of the keys to making a good stir fry is to cook super fast. If you overcook it, then too much of the water is released by the vegetables and it becomes a watered down version. But if you cook it just right, then the vegetables have a nice glaze on them and they're tender but still a little crisp too. And I'm adding some chili garlic sauce here. And while I'm finishing this up, I'll tell you the most important way that I've been saving money lately. And this is not a sponsored video. For many, many years, I've had Verizon as a service provider for my cell phone. And I think I originally chose them because they had great service at the location that I was in. And it was really important to me to have that service coverage for the work that I did. However, when I began my new job, I was using more data. So they started cutting me off about halfway through the month. So basically slowing my internet down so that I couldn't use it unless I purchased more. And I was already paying $80 a month at this point for one line. And I was just determined that I wasn't going to pay any more than that. So I finally did some shopping around and I found a deal for 3 months for $45 of unlimited with Mint Mobile. Plus, I think they had a special going on where I was able to get Paramount Plus for 6 months for free with that deal. So I ended up doing the switch and saving myself almost $200 in 3 months. And they don't have a store for you to go to, so you want to make sure that you have at least one extra phone to call them for help if you're trying to switch the service to your phone that you have. But I'm actually coming to the end of the 3 months at this point, and I have to say I've loved it. It's basically been no difference for me than having Verizon, with the exception that I'm paying a lot less. I was just offered a renewal plan, and I think I'm going to do a year plan, and if I do that and pay that in one lump sum, I'll be able to do it for $30 a month for unlimited, which is basically going to save me about $50 a month from my original provider. Anyway, I wanted to share that with you guys because I just feel silly for not doing it sooner, and I'm trying every way that I possibly can to save money. Some of you had some great suggestions in the comments of that video. Like, I had no idea that you can get free state park passes from the library. That just completely blows my mind. I wish I would have known that a lot sooner. Okay, so here is this stir fry that I made. It was delicious, but again, it's not as delicious as when I make my own sauce. There seems to be a mental value that's placed on using bottled sauce that really doesn't equate to the actual time saved for making your own. It really only takes a couple minutes to make the sauce. Later in the week, I made another stir fry, and this time I made a sauce with sesame oil, brown sugar, and soy sauce, and it was so good. I think I've shown where I've made a bottle of that sauce and then just kept it on hand for stir fries, and that's really what I need to do again. Just make a big bottle of it because it truly is better than anything you can buy. Plus, you can use it on salads or roasted vegetables, pretty much anything that you want to cook and you want it to taste good, just add that sauce too. In the heat of summer, there's nothing more refreshing to me than an ice cold smoothie, and I usually add some protein to it to make it a meal replacement, but you certainly don't have to. You really only need just a few ingredients. I like to use these frozen cranberries. I pick these up in the fall and winter when they're less expensive, and then I keep a few of the bags in the freezer and then just add a few into each shake. These are some of my favorite ingredients, and what I like about these are that they consist mostly of frozen bananas, which are so cheap. I get these at Sam's Club, and they're $1.47 a bundle, and each bundle makes 7 to 8 shakes. I cut the bananas in half and then use one banana per shake, and then of course I freeze these. There's lots of desserts you can make out of frozen bananas. I think chocolate covered bananas are my favorite. I was looking online to see what the prices are for the chocolate coating, and I found it on Instacart for $3.29, so I'm sure it's cheaper in the stores, but really you could just make these without the chocolate topping. I'm sure they're delicious. And if you wanted to save money on the chocolate, you could always do a little drizzle over each banana and then freeze it. Or if you do have chocolate, you could make some little bonbons out of it. I have some chocolate chips that I got from Dollar Tree, and I do have some bananas. However, at the time I filmed this segment, they were already frozen. So I'm not sure how this is going to turn out, but I'm going to go ahead and try. And I've got these little skewers that I think I purchased from Dollar Tree a while back, and I just use these over and over again, and then I wash them when I'm done. But I'm going to go ahead and try microwaving these chocolate chips, and then I'm just going to cut the bananas into bite-sized pieces. At first I tried microwaving the chocolate chips, but then I broke my cup in the microwave, so I switched to a different method. And since I just happen to have some chickpeas boiling on the stove, I decided to make a makeshift double boiler, and I used a regular glass bowl instead of a metal bowl, which really wasn't ideal, but it did work. And like I said earlier, I'm adding a hot substance to a frozen banana, so I'm just doing the best I can with what I have because I am in a no-spend week and I didn't want to run to the store to get more bananas. So I think this is going to work just fine. If I had fresh bananas, I might be able to dip them in the chocolate, but for frozen, this is what worked best for me. So I put these in the freezer, froze them, and for my first one, I decided to try the one with the walnut, and that was so delicious. I actually was shocked at how much I loved these. In fact, I liked them so much that I'm pretty sure I'm going to be making these with the rest of those chocolate chips, and I'm probably going to be keeping chocolate chips on hand just to make this dish with. If you want, you can make a single ingredient banana ice cream by just mashing up the bananas, or you can throw them in the blender, which I think makes a creamier texture. You can also add in some fruit to give it a little more interest, and then serve it like regular ice cream. Or you could use those little sticks and add it to a small cupcake pan. I kind of like this idea because it allows you to be more creative with it. You can suspend some whole fruit in it, like blueberries or blackberries or maybe even strawberries. Just a lot of different things you could do with that application. You could add a layer of peanut butter or even just drizzle the peanut butter over the top. Maybe you could have drizzles of both chocolate and peanut butter. I was thinking even for the little pieces that I made, if I would have added a dollop of peanut butter, I think that would have been really nice. Okay, I got a little sidetracked there. I was originally talking to you about my summer shakes. Today I'm making some meal prep bags for the smoothies just to make my life a little easier. I use 1 banana per shake. I like to add a cup of spinach to each bag, and then I'll add a few cranberries. I remember one of my viewers was asking me for some different ways to use cranberries, and I think this is a good way. You don't want to use too many cranberries because they are sour, but you can control the level of sweetness of your shake by how ripe you allow your bananas to get. And then I add about 1/3 of a cup of the frozen berries that I get from Sam's Club, and then I add some flaxseed for health just to get some omega-3s, but that is purely optional. In fact, a lot of this is optional. Really, you can make a refreshing shake with basically just the frozen banana and maybe add like one other ingredient in. But anyway, I don't add in the protein powder just in case someone else wants to make a smoothie and they don't want to add protein to theirs. I also don't add in any cacao powder, which is basically chocolate, because we add those in every now and then, but not with every shake. Sometimes my son likes to add in oatmeal to his, and he usually uses milk for his. I will either use water or oat milk for mine. I love that you can add any kind of fruit into a smoothie and make it healthy. Remember last year I think it was around November, that I made a pumpkin shake, and that actually turned out really good as well. I have these straws in my Amazon store in case you're interested. My son loves those, but to be honest with you, I generally just make mine very thick and then eat them with a spoon. You can always just make a smoothie bowl, which makes it turn out more like ice cream. And for me in summer, the more frozen, the better for cooling purposes. I think I've mentioned this before, but it's worth mentioning again. There are lots of wild berries in different regions throughout the US. You can use them in these smoothies or for any other kind of dessert or jelly or jam. You can make a delicious dessert with just a few pantry staples like flour, sugar, water, and berries. I used to go berry picking every year and get a big supply, and then I would have my frozen berries to last all year long. So today I made 6 of these smoothie bags, and I do have to say it did make life a lot easier for the following week because I was just able to throw those into the blender along with some protein powder and oat milk, and it just made for a super fast meal after work. And since I got quite a few bananas this time to last all summer, I just processed those and then put those in the freezer for some future use. That's it, guys. I'll be back next week with what I'm hoping will be a very fun video. See you Sunday.
Morning has broken, my windows are open. Wanna feel the wind blow through my hair. Which way do I follow? What happens tomorrow? I turn to you and hope you can guide the way. Sometimes I give up, just wanna be on